Good afternoon, and I'd like to welcome you today to our Flow Get a Taste of Flow coaching. My name is Candy Ashby. I am a Flow certified coach. I'm also a faculty member of the Flow Coaching Institute, and I'd like to welcome you here today. My journey with Flow started in May of 2020, where I searched several different coaching programs, decided to try Flow, and was hooked. I really enjoyed the experience. I had so much learning as a coach that I then became a TA with Flow and then added in my facilitation skills, and now I also facilitate our classes here at Flow. With us today, I'd like to welcome Doug Zephyr, who is a Flow coaching graduate, and I'll turn it over to you to introduce yourself, Doug. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry.
All good.
My name is Doug Zephyr. I'm a Flow certified business coach. I got introduced to coaching actually 20 years ago. It wasn't coaching as we call it now, and that word is so widely abused. But my company was undergoing a transition, a large organizational transition, and they bought us, the directors, they bought us coaching from Flow, and Candy was my coach. And I was enamored with Candy and just think she's amazing. And I was so impressed that I wanted to be like her. And so I saw the benefits of coaching, and I learned about those actually through my coaching sessions with Candy, and I went through the program. So that's why I'm here today.
Thanks for sharing, Doug. I appreciate that. Let's get started with our show. So, we're here to help you with our introductions, um, why we loved Flow and why we're here. And we received some questions, but we want to remind you to stay till the end. There is a special offer available at the end of this session, so please stay with us. And we're going to start with one of the questions that we received. A crescent from Rona. Good afternoon. I am interested in participating in the full Level 2 program. Are both business coaching and core foundations part of Level 2? Can you explain how Module 6 works? Yes. So when we look at business coaching and core foundations, which are two separate programs that we offer, the core foundations focuses more on our coaching methodology, the flow coaching architecture, the architecture of flow coaching session, and it gives you the foundation for coaching. When we talk about the business coaching, the core foundations are also there. However, also peppered in are tools in your toolbox that we would use more in a business setting. So we talk about, um, just fell out of my head. We talk about SWOT analysis. We talk about different ways of looking at business programs, and we integrate those tools into our core foundations to give the business coaching more of a business flavor. The core foundations are a foundation of the coaching methodology, and there are a few additional tools added in there, but they're not as focused on business as business coaching is. Once you take either the business coaching or the core foundations, you can, up once you have completed, move into module 6. Module 6 is an in-depth look at more of the competencies and how the flow coaching methodology fits into those core competencies. So each week we look at different core competencies. So for example, demonstrates the ethical practice, embodying a coaching mindset, maintains coaching agreement, cultivating trust and safety, maintaining presence, listening actively, invoking awareness, and facilitating clients' growth. So in module 6, also, we have some mentor coaching. So it prepares you, if you take modules 1 to 5 and module 6, it prepares you to advance for um, your ICF application. Next question, please. I'm interested in the concept of flow. Can you talk about it? Does it apply in the coaching context? In other words, how does flow coaching work? Oh, it appears that we have lost Doug. I will begin to answer this. So, flow is a positive state of mind when you're completely focused and involved in activity. There's a sense of fluidity with between your mind and body. It just feels really good. It feels like you're where you're supposed to be. So in flow coaching, when we're in flow, we enjoy what we do. We use our strengths, we embrace our values, and we express our individuality. So we're totally immersed in our focus, in our lives. So as a flow coach, we help through our methodology, help our clients find that flow. Let's go to our next slide. Thank you. So when we talk about the 5 barriers that keep us from experiencing flow, experiencing fulfillment, contentment, and joy, there's all sorts of things that happen in our lives that cause us to, number one, overthink. Number two, the fear of failure. Number three, fear of change. Right now, there's so much change happening. There's lots of reorgs in companies. There's a lot of unrest, thinking about the past. Sometimes there's things in our past that we need to move on from and look at differently. And number 5 is worrying. So, all these things that we do here with overthinking, fear of failure, fear of change, thinking about the past, and worrying, all those things create chaos, and we become in survival mode. So as a flow coaching coach, we want to help our people get out of survival mode. We really want to coach the whole person and be present. It's kind of like a state of being. Welcome back, Doug.
Thank you. Are you talking about flow?
I was talking about the barriers that stop us from experiencing flow, but I'd love to hear you describe flow for us.
Sure. First of all, I apologize. I had a quick technical glitch there. I got kicked out, but I'm back. With flow, it's really about it is a state of mind, as Candy was saying. The best way to describe it is think of yourself when you're doing something that you really enjoy and you've lost all track of time and you really just are in the moment. You're so present and you're at a state of just being with it. And that happens in coaching. It's a goal. It's a goal of mine, and I've achieved it. Not enough, but multiple times. But when you're coaching, you don't know where it's going to go if you're doing it properly. And your ability to be in the moment and to be listening and to be present is really about flow. And it, like I say, when it happens, you know it, and it feels really good. And as a coach, you become very beneficial.
Absolutely. So being in flow as a coach, we're actively listening with our whole being, with what we see, what we hear, what we're feeling. We lose track of time. I always set a timer when I'm coaching because time just seems to slip by. We are totally in sync with our client, really listening to them and what their needs are, asking questions to evoke awareness, helping them think beyond their current thinking. Because sometimes when we're in a situation, we're problem focused, and the flow coaching methodology really helps you to help your client go from problem focused to solution focused. And when we become more solution focused, it's easier to experience flow. We stop overthinking, we can stop worrying. When we are not looking at the problem, we're looking at a solution, it's moving us forward. These are all important parts of coaching and helping our clients have realizations and putting what they've learned into action. Thank you for that, Doug. Let's take another question. Can you explain the difference between ICF, ACC, PCC, and MCC? What is required to receive an ACC and PCC, please? So the ICF is the International Coaching Federation. And the International Coaching Federation was created because, like Doug mentioned before, a lot of people looked at coaching and they had a lot of different definitions for what coaching is. So the ICF said, okay, we're going to put together some core competencies, we're going to do some credentialing so that when you want a professional coach, these are credentials that help you see what a credentialed coach is and what levels. So ACC, PCC, and MCC are three different levels of the credentialing. ACC is an associate credentialed coach. To become an associate credentialed coach, you need 60 hours or more of education. You require 10 mentor hours and 100 hours of coaching experience, and a certain percentage of that needs to be paid. To become a PCC, which is a professional credentialed coach, you need 125 hours plus of education, 10 mentor hours, and 500 hours of experience coaching, with a certain percentage of that as well to be paid. MCC is a master certified coach. You need 200 plus hours of education, an additional 10 hours of education, and 1,500 hours of experienced coaching, with a certain percentage of that being paid. Now, to become an MCC, you must already be an ACC or a PCC level credentialed coach. In order to receive your ACC, you need the education, the mentor, the experience. You also require to do an oral exam and the credentialing exam. For PCC, the requirements are slightly different. You need the increased education, the same amount of mentor hours, the 500 hours of experience, and you still required to do an oral exam and the ICF credentialing. That's a lot, but it is so worth it. May I have the next question, please?
Hey, Candy,
Yes,
before we go to that, can I say something about the ICF?
absolutely.
So a lot of the acronyms to someone just coming in, it's so confusing to understand all this is. The same thing is true of coaching. You're going to see, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're in the business world, on Facebook even, you're going to see a lot of people that say they do coaching. Everyone's a coach. It's like being an artist. Everyone's an artist. And that is not true by the definition we have with the ICF. And the ICF that Candy talks about, the International Coaching Federation, is the de facto standard for coaching. And the coaching that is taught, that you learn, is ICF accredited. So that means that your coaching certification runs by the book and your coaching certification stands out. So that would be the difference between you having coaching here versus there's some of these online classes I've seen that do coaching, and you can become a coach in 4 weeks and do your coaching, and it's just not the same. One of the biggest distinctions that I've found, the coaching that I've learned versus the other people that I've talked to that are doing coaching, is that the ICF coaching is not giving the answers. You are leading people through self-discovery, through emotional awareness. Like I said, you don't know where it goes, but you don't give them the answer. So this is really hard for engineers. So one of the people that I've been talking to, I'm an ex-engineer, a mechanical engineer. There's a guy I'm talking to in Spain right now, and he cannot get past that. So people come to him with these problems, and he's like, but Doug, I know the answer. I just want to tell them. And I said, that's great. But you know what I learned? I learned about neuroscience, and that when you tell someone, it goes in one place. When they discover it themselves, it goes more closer to the lizard brain. So the ability of coaching somebody and leading them through the discovery is what the ICF coaching is about. I just wanted to say that because for me, that was a really big distinction about the ICF coaching and what I learned versus other kinds of coaching. Thanks, Candy.
Oh, I appreciate that, Doug. Thank you for sharing that with us. And it's so true. As an instructor, I talk a lot about how do we get past uh, wanting to solve their problems, because that's not what we do as coaches. We don't solve anybody's problems. We give them the tool to solve their problems on their own. And that's a huge distinction with the ICF. We want to be able to empower people to find their own solutions. We believe that they have the answers within. And I always say to my clients, you are the expert on you. I am the expert on asking the questions. And together, we get you to somewhere that is truly wonderful. We're looking for sustainable paths. So if I give you advice or tell you what worked for me, it will not necessarily work for you. And we also want to talk about motivation. If I tell you what worked for me, that's extrinsic. I am tongue-tied today. Extrinsic motivation comes from inside. You want to please me. I don't want that for you. I want to know that you're going to be motivated internally to do these things, to do what you want to do to get you there. So, intrinsic motivation is so important. And that's something we do teach at the Flow Coaching Institute. Thank you for that, Doug. Our next slide, please. The Flow Coaching Foundations. Um, we're based on positive psychology and the flow model. Carl Rogers and Mihai Csikszentmihalyi have a client-centered approach. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi is the founding father of flow and one of the founders of positive psychology. So we incorporated, not myself, actually, Talia Vedar, our founder, MCC psychologist, created this programming and used neuroscience on create. Oh my goodness, I apologize. I am so tongue-tied today. Neuroscience in creativity, expressive therapies, techniques, and methodologies. We use creative questioning, expression, and questioning methods from multidisciplinary art therapies that can be applied to coaching. Art therapy is also a separate coaching um, methodology that can be an add-on to core foundations or the business section. There's a behavioral and cognitive approach, modeling of behavior or thinking in a direction of positive change, modeling, role modeling, leaders, etc. It's a systematic approach. The change and development of one part of the system puts the whole system in motion. This is where we coach the whole person. So when we business coach, even if we're coaching on, for example, you know, staff development or um, getting promotions, the whole person is still involved. There's still the feelings, the fears, the what has happened in the past, problems that they're bringing forward that we want to help evoke awareness, have motivation for doing these things, and then get them to a point where it's a mind body connection and they can find flow in how they're doing things.
Candy,
Yes.
I also, wanted to add about the neuroscience. Neuroscience is such a part now in my business as well. of management. So they're teaching a lot more neuroscience with management now. And the fact that flow is based in that neuroscience, having had that previous training before I took the flow courses, I really recognized that they were doing and using neuroscience. It's based in that science. So I think that's really important in those, the motivation you speak of, and essentially the behavioral changes that occur.
Absolutely. So I could tell you what to do, but is that really going to help you? Like, are you intrinsically motivated to do it? Can you see the benefit? And then when we talk about, how would you do it? W- what is your motivation for doing it? How do you see this outcome? What would you like it to look like? It evokes all sorts of awareness and thoughts. And people, I've often been told that they feel hopeful again, or they can kind of see a solution, and maybe we have to dig deeper to find it. But it evokes something inside of them. And we help people find their flow when we coach the whole person.
One of the things that I took away into my career and other things that I do is how to powerful questions. And instead of even with my kids now, I find my relationships better. So instead of telling them things or reacting, I'm asking powerful questions that I learned from my coaching training. And what a difference it's made in my relationships, much more positive relationships. It's really a great way to resolve conflicts as well if you're in the middle of a conflict. So learning about this questioning and learning how it works is such an important tool that can be used outside of coaching and in your life.
Absolutely. Being curious. Instead of assuming, we do a lot of that, asking the questions and really engaging people in conversation, because when when they are part of the solution, when they are part of what's happening going on, you get more buy-in. As managers, we want buy-in. We want engaged people in our teams. So it's very important that we're curious. We consider their perspectives. And the great thing about having really creative questions is sometimes when people are in these situations, they can't see the forest from the trees. All they can see is the problem that's in front of them. And by really strong and creative questions, we're able to kind of lift them up and have them look at different perspectives and see that maybe there is a solution. So instead of just staring at the problem head on, we become more solution focused. Thank you for that, Doug. Next slide, please. The flow coaching philosophy and principles. Again, what we say, what we being in flow takes everything together: spiritual, emotional, physical, mental, all of those, and puts them together. Again, when we're in flow, we're doing what we enjoy. We're using our strengths, we're embracing our values, and expressing our individuality. So, what the flow coaching philosophy and principles also do is allow a person to have self reflection. How much, when people come to coaching, sometimes what they come up with in their sessions or things that they bring out, I've often had it said to me, well, this is not rocket science. Why didn't I come up with this myself? And I often say, when was the last time that you gave yourself an hour to reflect on something? When was the last time that you had someone ask you questions that challenged your previous thinking? When was the last time that you sat down and took a look at what your values are and incorporated your strengths and looked at a way to challenge yourself? So we really want to immerse people in their focus. What is your focus? What are you looking at? What do you need to solve? What are we improving? And we help people move from boredom, move from anxiety into flow. And they find that flow when we coach the whole person. May I have our next question, please? Sandy, I am interested in becoming a flow coach. What is the difference between fast track core foundations and business coaching? Okay, I think I touched on this before, but I'm happy to bring it again. The fast track core foundations is just our flow coaching methodology with a few different tools that are can be used in any type of coaching. The business coaching is our found core foundations, but with a lot of different business tools brought in. Doug, I believe that you took the business coaching. What was, can you tell us a little bit about your experience there?
Yes, I can. So for me, I was a little bit selfish. I had two objectives in doing the business coaching. One was I'm in business and I want to know more about that. Tell me more about business coaching and how to coach around business. But also, I wanted to develop a coaching business. So one of the things that Flow Institute does is while you're taking the class, you're literally building your business. You are practicing, you are developing your unique selling proposition. You're talking about areas of coaching you might be interested in particular. And you are setting up, there's even a 9-box matrix that talks about, the areas of your business and how you're going to put your business forward. And we did all that exercise and everybody did it with regard to their own business. So it helps you develop yourself in developing a coaching presence because some of us need help in doing that. So I found that to be really helpful.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Doug. Our next question, please. Lynn Ivan, can you please explain the differences between level 1, level 2, and modules 1 to 5? Modules 1 to 5 give you enough education for level 1. So that's the ACC, the 60 plus hours. And when you do level 1, in order to get your ACC, you're still going to require the 10 plus mentor hours. Level 2 would be adding in module 6. That will give you the 125 plus and your mentor hours and your oral evaluation. So in order that way you have enough education to take you all the way to PCC, whether you're ready to do that right away. The path I took was I did levels 1 to 6. I received my ACC, and then from having my ACC, built up my hours to get my PCC. I believe we still have another question from Sarah. Hi, I'm a student in the Flow Coaching's Core Foundations modules 1 to 5. So far, amazing programs and instructors. I love it. Can you talk about creative ways of improving ourselves as flow coaches? Absolutely. Every instructor will tell you this. Practice, 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 and more practice. Um, improving in creative ways of improving ourselves as flow coaches, active listening. Make sure that you're actively listening in all your situations. So when we talk about the levels of listening, there's listening to hear, listening to respond, and then global listening, listening with everything, listening to tone of voice, listening for watching posture, rhythm, pace, um, and being able to paraphrase, summarize, and reframe. And we teach you those skills in the course. But those are important things to hone, and you can do that in day-to-day conversations. So when you're listening to a friend, be more curious. Ask questions that are more in depth, really be interested in what's going on. So asking questions where you wouldn't ask before, and try noticing things in your conversations that are a little different now that you are listening more. Doug, do you have any tips?
Boy, do I ever, as someone who's came, I'll give you my tips. Hopefully they apply. For me, it was so much about noting the difference. So I did modules 1 through 5 first, and I'm worried about the architecture of the conversation. I'm worried about following the rules. And, as I started to coach people, sometimes things broke and it threw me off. And I tried to get back to the structure and I tried to force things. When I got to level 6, the module 6, rather, um, one of the master instructors were there. And what you got to see is the art. And the art, and such as Candy, the same way. The art is something that goes beyond the architecture, and it comes from just gobs of practice. And when you see someone do it, a practitioner do it, it's really impressive. It's effortless. And to achieve that level of mastery takes a long time. And the road to get there is really, I hate to say it, but it's like, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. It needs to become part of your needs to be ingrained, so that when something comes that isn't according to the architecture, which it always will, something will break the way that you think it's going to go, you will adapt and you will flow with it. And that is I'm just now, I feel like I'm learning that, and being able to go with how it happens. And to me, that's really what coaching is. You come in with an agenda, you're waiting to say something sometimes, and you're waiting to, oh, let's get done with this, and then I'm going to move to this. And after a while, you don't follow that agenda, you let it flow.
Absolutely. And the architecture is there to help you move people through. However, it does, in Module 6, we spend more time in showing you how it flows. So we may be creating awareness, then we go into motivation, some creative planning, and then we need to go back to motivation. Or maybe we need to evoke more awareness. So it becomes a dance. It's not cut and dried, it's not cookie cutter questions. You learn to adapt to your client. And in Module 6, we spend time where you get to hear other people's coaching styles. I'll tell you, May 2020, our TA and our instructor did a coaching demonstration. I finished that class and I said to my husband, I can't do this. I don't know where they're getting these questions from. I don't know where they come out of left field. They noticed something. I don't know where that came from. I don't know if I can do this. Fast forward 4 years, coaching lights me up every day. I am so happy to do what I do. I am feel blessed that I get to help people move forward. I feel when I'm done my day, I don't feel drained. Um, it is such a great profession. But my point here is I have about 1,700 hours coaching now. And it's a large difference from the 100 hours I had and my confidence and how I feel. But the best part, one of the best things about flow coaching is in the way you're taught and the way we practice, as much as you are learning to coach, you're being coached. So you understand what it's like and feel those feels and answer those questions as a client. So you get to experience both sides of coaching, which I believe really helps you solidify your coaching style. It allows you to understand the principles and philosophies a lot better. And you become totally immersed in being a coach. So be, have, do. Be as a coach. Have what you have as a coach. Do as a coach. Our next question, please. Also, as experienced coaches, what do you recommend in finding clients? Doug, I'll let you take this first and then I'll chime in.
Sure. One of the hardest things that a lot of people find is the idea of specializing. What makes you different than somebody else is actually a very important point, and it becomes what's called in the business world a unique selling proposition. And it's what you have to offer that's different than other people. And that's an important thing to develop in yourself. It can be under the subject of what everyone else does, but there's something different that you do. What is that? And that the difficulty that you wrestle with is, do I do that? If I do that, does that mean saying no to certain people? And that's a tough decision to make. If do you generalize or do you specialize? And I think long term you have to specialize and develop your niche for coaching, and developing your brand and it is a part about building a company. But I think that brand is the most important thing to start with. Is what kind of person do you want to coach? And that can change. It doesn't have to be set in stone. That's the thing that was frustrating to me when I started. Was I thought, oh God, I could do this, or I could do this, or I could focus over here. But what I realized was that I started with one thing and it can change, and that's okay. Um, how's that?
Thank you.
How's that resonate, Candy?
That totally resonates. Totally resonates. At and you'll find as you coach, you'll find what people are drawn to you for. So people come to me for self-awareness. I do a lot of work with talking about your values, your strengths, and how that works into who you want to be and where you're going. And I work with a lot of people who have had major life transitions. And the reason is I can really relate to them. I had a major life transition in 2015. And after I recovered, I was not the same person as I was before that I am now. And I really had gone on uh, the road of self-discovery to figure out really who was I and what did I want. So people are drawn to my coaching for that kind of experience. So that self-awareness and coaching does bring that. We work on evoking awareness, helping you think beyond your current way. But I also recommend in finding clients is to think of yourself as a coach as soon as you start coaching. Be, do, have. Be a coach. I'm a coach. What makes you a coach? What what makes you the coach that people want to see? Reaching out to your network, letting people know you're a coach and what that means to you and why you want to coach. And people need to know, like, and trust you in order for them to want to coach with you. So don't be afraid to talk about coaching. Don't be afraid to tell your network what you're doing. Share all the wonderful things that you're learning. And like Doug said, start to develop your brand. What makes you so special? Thank you for that, Doug. Our next question, please. Let's get into some flow. So so here we have the flow coaching methodology with the flow chart brought to us by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. So when we look at the methodology, down at the bottom, we want our abilities and our challenges to be equal. And sometimes we're not there. We have maybe our ability is lower than our challenge. Sometimes our challenge is lower than our ability, so that causes boredom. And what we do within our 5 steps is we create awareness. Where are we? Where are we on this chart? Are we challenged beyond our abilities? Are our abilities beyond our challenge? So let's be aware of that. What is our motivation? What's the meaning of this? Why do we even want to move? Where do we want to be? And then looking at, are we in an area of burnout and anxiety? Are we bored, apathetic? And what do we want to do? What is it that we want to achieve? From there we start with some creative planning. When we talk about creative planning, we're looking at what's positive change? What can we do? And when we look at that, then we want to create steps and build it in so it's sustainable and works for us. Once we do that, well, we look at focus. How are we going to sustain this change? How are we going to keep ourselves moving forward? And most of all, how do we get over these obstacles? So, change is not always a direct line, right? We start out as really great and then we move ahead and something gets in our way. I always kind of link it to if you're in your car and your goal is in your GPS, and then you get going, you're 2 days into your trip. And when we start something new, we often have excitement for this change and challenge. And then 2 days in, there's a flat tire. Are we going to turn our car around and go back home? Absolutely not. We're going to take a look. Does it just need air? Does it, do we need a new tire? What do we need to do to get ourselves going again? And that's what coaching does for you. If you hit a roadblock, we talk about what are these obstacles in your way? How can we challenge this? What can we do to get around it? And I like being on a highway. Sometimes roads are closed and we have to pause and put in our GPS and take another pathway. So, really, coaching helps you deal with these obstacles, and life is life. It's full of them. Our next slide, please. So, we'll talk about our programs. all-inclusive advanced ICF level 2 certificates. It's modules 1 to 6, all-inclusive advanced coaching certification. It takes you through the beginning, the foundations, modules 1 to 5, where you learn all about the flow coaching architecture. And then in module 6, we go deeper into the architecture and we go deeper into the ICF, the ICF core competencies. Level 6 also gives you the one-to-one group mentoring and the individual mentoring. I'll talk a little bit about the individual mentoring and the group mentoring as well in Module 6. Um, each class, we ask different students they'll be assigned to submit a 30-minute recording. And as a group, we listen for whatever um, module or core competency we're working on that week. So we're listening for example, if it cultivates trust and safety. So we're listening for how they connect, the depth of connection between the client and the coach. We're listening to hear if the coach is leading or is letting silences happen. So there's so many different things. And then we give each other feedback about, what was done well, areas that perhaps we would have done differently, and you get to learn through that. As a mentor coach, I often listen to recordings and I go through the 8 competencies and I'll timestamp and give people information of, hey, you did really well in this area. This is really what I loved. This question was really great in evoking awareness. And sometimes perhaps there's like, this was all right, but maybe listen to it again and listen to it from this context, or um, focus more on this area, or this is what you did really well, let's improve in other areas. So you get that one-on-one with a PCC level coach that's able to help you move and improve through your process as you're going through module 6. If you are looking to sign up, please visit flowcoachinginstitute.com. There's more information. You can also reach us by email and the phone number shown on the screen, and we will be happy to meet with you, talk to you, answer any questions you have. Next slide, please. Level 1 ACC coaching certifications, modules 1 to 5 is the beginning. You do receive, um, level 1 ACC coaching certification. You do receive your 60 hours plus of education. You can also purchase the course that includes the 10 mentor hours, the oral coaching evaluation. You also get peer hours and client coaching hours. There's a written assessment. There's a free ebook and coaching support materials. And bonus ICF certificate and the oral exam are included. So once you have that, then you can apply to the ICF. And what you'll need at that point, you'll have everything you need for ACC except your 100 hours, and then to do the certification exam. Our next slide, please. So our upcoming cohorts are Thursdays in November for the Fast Track Flow Coaching Core Foundations, modules 1 to 5. And then our next one starting soon is Fast Track Flow Business Coaching, Thursdays starting December 5th. And then our next one is the Track Core Foundations Coaching Certification. They're 15-week programs, Saturdays starting January 18th to April 2025. Next slide, please. And then for our module 6, starting Fridays, starting October 18th, Friday nights from if you're in Eastern time from 7 to 10 p.m. And then we also have level 2 all-inclusive module 6 starting Fridays, December 13th from 10 till 1. Flow Expressive Arts Coach training starts October 16th. So that's next week. So if you're really interested in expressive arts, um, I don't have experience with that program, but everyone that has I've heard of my students who have taken it have really come away with a deeper understanding of expressive arts, how it fits into coaching, how you can help your clients move through that. And Talia is your instructor. She's MCC, she's our founder, and I had the pleasure of learning from her, which just really it's incredible. So, if you're interested in that, please sign up right away. Next slide, please. Thank you for joining us. We're so happy. So our special offer is a token of our appreciation is a 5% discount on programs. So this is tailored for attendees who are looking to take the next steps in your coaching journey. Please stay tuned for an email from Flow Coaching. I want to really thank you for being with us today. I hope we've answered all your questions and you have more of a taste of flow coaching. And that if you are interested in bringing coaching into your life and finding flow, using your strengths, tapping into your values, and embracing your individuality, that you'll join us. Doug, how about you?
Well, I thank you for letting me be here today, and I just encourage everyone to, you know, if you want to shop around and compare, do the work. But I can vouch for the people that that work here. They're just incredible at what they do, and what great mentors to have in your coaching career. And I like I said, I had Candy. I was very fortunate, and I've had Talia also. There's some amazing teachers here, and they have a lot to offer.
Thank you, Doug. And I think I can speak for all our faculty is that we really have a love of coaching. We have a love of developing people and just to see people grow and develop. And you're learning from coaches who are practicing coaches. So we are still immersed in everyday coaching. Are all ICF certified. We love what we do. We take things very seriously. And we really have a love of helping our students. We come from a place of abundance, and we really want to see people grow and believe in the gift of coaching. So um, that was the appeal for me for flow coaching. Uh, I really enjoyed it so much, and I believe in this so much that you know I wanted to teach it. I wanted to be part of it, and I'm very grateful to be here.
I was going to say another benefit from coaching is that you're helping people, and it feels good. Not every session, but there's a lot of sessions that you're leading them to epiphanies, and you watch them awaken, and it's an incredible high that you get as the coach.
We rise by lifting others.
Yeah.
Yeah, we rise by lifting others. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope the rest of your day is filled with happiness and you are looking to find your flow. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.